I'm Joe from As the Joe Flies, and Leslie from Trips with Tykes is not here with me today. She has the day off, but we've got a great guest for you, an old friend of mine. We are old together. Amy Kay, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you. We're not old.
Yeah, we're not old. I mean, you look great. I haven't seen Amy face to face in, I don't know, over 20 years.
Maybe since we rode the bus together.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Moving on. So we brought Amy on because Amy reached out to me a couple months ago because she planned a trip with her family to Walt Disney World and was looking for some help. And, Amy, why don't we just start with this? Why don't you introduce, tell us about your family, the demographics, like who went with you to Disney World?
Sure. When you say planned a trip, I booked a hotel. That was as far as my planning had gone before I reached out to you. But I did. I planned a trip for myself, my husband, and my two daughters, ages 7 and just turned 5.
Yeah, and the reason why I really wanted to chat with Amy is because, when you reached out to me, you were like, I'm just paraphrasing, but it was like, Joe, I got to do this. And, we're just going to do this one time and I'm dreading it. And just help me out, bro. That's like basically what you said. And so
exactly.
Let's start by saying like, what is or was your Disney background? And my impression was it was very minimal.
Zero.
Aside from like what normal Americans have. And, what were your feelings planning and going into this trip? And like, why'd you even book it in the first place?
I booked it, because we have to. So as parents, I felt pressure to do. The last couple of years where we were kind of waiting until everything was all the way open again. My kids' ages were ideal. So it was just, this was the time. So we booked it. Full disclosure, I Googled, what's the bougiest hotel in Disney and booked us there. I think I booked it in June. And I think then sort of maybe around the holidays is when I panic dialed you to ask for some guidance because I had bought tickets and I had booked a hotel and then I thought we would just wing it. But, I thought better of it and I called you.
Wise decision. Now,
I agree.
I would love, like, my impression was that you were not really excited about this trip. And one reason why I want to have you on is because Leslie and I were we're just thinking Disney all the time. And so we're in like a bubble, in a weird Mickey shaped, crazy bubble. Right. And so, you're a normie. And so, like, were you excited or were you dreading? Like, what were your feelings going into this trip?
I think it was a little bit of both. I was looking forward to some warm weather. I was definitely dreading crowds. I had heard it was going to be crowded. And, to me, I was just envisioning, just chaos, just all the things, that you think about when you go on a trip. How's the food going to be? What's the hotel going to be? And my bar was set really low. I think you knew that going in. I also think you knew that I was going to be impressed when I got there because of that. But yeah, I was not expecting much. It was, and even when we got there, I was like, you guys better enjoy it because this is it. We're here.
This is your one time.
Do everything now.
Yeah. So let me break down a little bit about just what you all did. Like you said, you Googled the bougiest hotel and you landed on the Grand Floridian, which is
Do you think that is the bougiest hotel?
It is where I think Harry and Meghan stayed there. But it's the one that the dignitaries stay at. So yes, you in general, unless they're like a Disney nerd and happen to be like rich and famous, that's where most people stay. So yes, it is the bougiest hotel, and you also booked a 1-bedroom suite. And you were there for 5 nights. And listeners, she was there at the peak of spring break, March 9th through 15th, or 14th or 15th. But like that was, I can't remember if I texted you this, Amy, but when you were there, that's like when we kind of found out, like we hear that Disney is thinking that is going to be the most busy time of spring break. So you were at the spring breakiest time of spring breaks. What we're going to mostly focus on today is things that surprised you about Disney in a positive way, especially because you weren't sure you were going to go back? Spoiler alert, I think you are considering doing that, strongly
I'm
considering.
ready. I'm ready.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. We'll save it to the end. But I did want to actually ask you a little bit about the one bedroom suite at the Grand Floridian. What were your
hmm
impressions of that? Having that extra space, did you feel like that really made a difference? And I guess here's the part where we say that you managed to pick up a respiratory virus like on the way, so maybe you needed that space for quarantine purposes.
Yeah, we didn't quarantine, but we did end up using it even more than I think we thought we would. I wanted just space because I wanted us to be able to sleep. I wanted us to, if somebody needed to sleep and somebody wanted to not sleep, or just, I wanted to have the space. I also wanted to have the option of a quick meal there if we're taking a break from the park, or if it's a breakfast. I wanted there to be a little kitchen area. Kids can be a little picky, so it's good to have that as an option. But then, yeah, as you said, we picked up something nasty on the way down with, I think, everybody else on that flight as well. So um, we spent more time in the room than certainly we had planned, and certainly more time than we normally would have on a trip. We're usually a pretty active, out and about kind of family. It was honestly perfect. We had a lake view of one bedroom. I believe we were in one of the renovated ones as well, so it was really nice. The only thing that I can say that wasn't amazing about the room is, and it's probably not just our room, they broadcast the sound of the music that accompanies the Magic Kingdom fireworks loudly. And so when we arrived, half of us sick, after waking up at 3 in the morning, and we finally get everybody sorted, washed, into bed, and then, we're under siege from the fireworks.
Oh, so you mean from the speakers outside your room?
Yeah, so there were speakers playing whatever they're playing in the park. They also play it there, and it's also echoing off of all the buildings. So and having been to the fireworks when they were also going off in Magic Kingdom, I can confirm it was louder in our room than it was to be just right there under them. So that would be the only thing.
Yeah, and that was it past daylight savings? Was that 8 or 9? If it was a 9, it's
So
like even worse.
we had both. Yeah, daylight savings happened while we were there.
Got it. Got it. Well, that is great to hear. So let's get to some of the stuff that surprised you in a positive way. Just to break it down really quickly, you visited Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, and then Magic Kingdom again. Yeah, let's just get started. Like, what are things that really, I just remember you were texting me while you were on the trip, and you're like, "Oh, this is great. This is like
Nothing
so much more
bad.
fun. Yeah, this is so much more fun than I thought it was going to." So, what are some of the things that really surprised you and stood out to you?
Yes, for sure, all of it. So we woke up the first morning with a very ill 7-year-old. We decided that that morning hitting the parks hard was not a good idea. Just looking forward toward the rest of the trip, trying to just cut our losses. So we went to Disney Springs that day, just as an activity that wasn't, hopefully we were thinking it wasn't as physically demanding as going to a park. And it was great. It was so much fun. I wish we could have spent more time there, but people's stamina was running low sort of after lunch.
Can I ask a couple questions about that?
Absolutely.
Because I'm like so never in Disney Springs. So my two questions are: how did you get there? Did you take a Lyft or Uber or whatever? And then, what did you guys do there that you found enjoyable?
So we did take an Uber. So that was our first morning, our first Uber. It ended up the Uber driver ended up being so friendly, and gave us his number, and ended up being like our driver for the trip. He also had really good information.
Nice.
I know, we felt cool with the Escalade waiting outside for us at the parks. But yeah, so he drove us there. He was great. We got there a little early before most things were open, but it's still like you can grab coffee, and it's just nice there. It was our first day and some nice weather coming from New Jersey. So even that was great. And then like just all the shops, they're Disney, but they're also, kind of, it's not the same. There is that giant Disney merchandise store there, but they're different. I mean, I don't want to get right. Should we get right into my favorite food of the trip? Because it was in Disney Springs.
Let's get into it. If that's where we
Listen,
are,
I
let's get
didn't
into
know
it.
this was such a polarizing thing. I just saw it on one of the Disney food blogs because obviously I follow every Disney food blog now. Chicken Guy. I mean, can we
Yes.
spend the rest of this conversation just talking about my love for
Okay.
Chicken Guy?
Yeah, okay. So I need to get there. But I need you to tell people because when people hear Chicken Guy and then they hear Guy Fieri, if you don't know, it's Guy Fieri, and they think it's like, they automatically think it's going to be tacky and they're going to be frosted tips everywhere. Now, it's chicken tenders,
Well,
right?
yeah, that's true. It is tacky. There are actually photos of frosted tips, and I think I mentioned to you there
Nice.
there is a life-size photo sort of mural of him holding a chicken and a live chicken. That would
What?
honestly be, yeah, I know. So I saw it was there. I'm like, we have to try Chicken Guy. I mobile ordered. I'm like, it's probably going to take, an hour because everyone's going to mobile order. We walk up, it's ready, right? So we order, it's all tendies, and a million different sauces. That's where the magic is. So we placed the mobile order. It was ready as soon as we got there. We sat down. I think I placed an order of 8 tendies, and then subsequently from the table placed an order for another 5 tendies. Um, so
Nice.
I
And
mean,
was this like during, you got there early, but was this during lunchtime, like after
yeah,
11 at least?
I think they open at 11. We were in the Lego store at that time, and I was like, oh, let's go. It's time. So from the Lego store, walking over, we placed the order. It was ready when we got there, and honestly, it was great. But I was really impressed with how the mobile ordering actually worked. I'm from New Jersey. I mobile order. I'm a suburban mom. I'm not a stranger to mobile ordering. I know sometimes it's worse than ordering in person. You order something from Starbucks, all the tickets come out, and they're just, making the beverages for the people that are there. And I did not find that to be the case there or any other restaurant, any of those quick fire places where I did the mobile ordering. It was really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that just people, we always say this, but like at Disney World, mobile ordering works and it really saves you a lot of time. So
It
I'm
does.
glad.
And that was something I was super skeptical. I was like, they're going to lose it or everybody's mobile ordering, but it's a good system.
So let's move on. So the first park you went to was the Magic Kingdom. What stood out to you there?
It was. So I was we were in the pool with my the 5-year-old and she was like, I think I want to go to that castle. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So this is after
So
Disney Springs,
she
after
saw
the
it
pool.
from
You can
she
see
saw it
it
from like yeah, from the hotel.
from from the hotel. You can see it across the lake. And she's like, "I think I want to go to it." I'm like, I mean, we're here, right? Like, and we had the tickets. We were just gonna kind of let them lapse for that day. But we went to the castle. Probably everybody who listens to this knows that the monorail runs through Grand Floridian. I saw the monorail. I just didn't know how to get to the monorail. So I'm like, all right, we're
Oh
going.
yeah. No, that's a great point. Like the Grand Floridian's monorail station,
It's
it's like
hidden.
backwards to figure out how to get to it. Yeah. So explain to the
Thank you
people.
for saying that. So, so I asked someone, I asked a lot of really stupid questions to people. I mean, I hope that's something that happens to them frequently, and I don't stand out in anybody's memory. So I really asked some
No
doozies.
comment. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, the
I
cast
mean, either
members are
way,
great.
if you're listening,
I think you
sorry.
yeah, I think you probably experienced that the cast members are great with whatever questions you have.
They're all really, they were so helpful. Nobody made me feel stupid again, even when they really could have. So I said, how do we get to the monorail? And they're like, it's right there. You can see it. It's right there. And how often does it run? And they said 15 minutes. That 15 minutes thing, maybe they were just trying to, manage my expectations. It was not 15 minutes. So I see the monorail is coming. I'm with this little girl and I'm like, go, we're from New York. It's like we're getting on the train, we're still running up the stairs. You don't get to it from outside. You have to go in and up and out. So we finally got
Yes,
on the
yes. The
monorail.
exits from outside, but the entrance is from inside. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So we got on, we're very excited. We use our magic bands to gain entry. We have to fingerprint. This is all, I had no idea any of this. And we walk in, and it's just, there's a parade, a huge, I mean, it was like, Macy's, there's floats. It's every Disney character, and they're all on floats, and they're coming and they're waving. And it was honestly magical. I mean, between seeing this and then just like looking down and watching her, it was an amazing moment. So, I mean, we could have gone in, seen this parade, and left, and we still would have had the best time, you know,
Yeah, that's awesome. That means you must have been there like right at like 3:30. So that you were like perfect
probably.
timing.
I mean, again, I had no idea. I didn't even know these things happen all the time. We just walked in. I'm like, oh, something's happening, and we just walked right up. We walked right up to the sidewalk there.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I was at Disney World, or we were in Orlando for teachers convention or conference thing, like 5 or 6 years ago, and so we all went to Epcot just for one night, and yeah, my coworkers, they like watched the fireworks and stuff like that, and they were like, so this is just a random Tuesday night at Disney, like this is just what happens. And yeah, I think that's what like people are
Right.
not prepared for, like these things just
I was
happen.
not.
It's just like it's just a different world. So but did you venture into Magic Kingdom after the parade?
We did. We went up to the castle again, thinking that you could just waltz right in. I'm not sure if that's a thing that you can do. Of the three times that I was in Magic Kingdom, it was roped off, all of them. That first time that we went, there was also, they were setting up for another show that was right in front of it that we also just watched the whole thing. It was great. The other times, I'm not sure if they were preparing for something. Are you supposed to be able to go in the castle?
You can walk through when they're not
Okay.
setting up for a show or like something's not
Okay.
happening. And
Okay.
but like walking through is not kind of the exciting thing. It's like walking through a hallway. I think the exciting thing is, getting to eat there, which you did.
We did because of you. That was,
Oh,
yes,
was that because of me? I'm not
that
being
was,
humble. I
yes.
genuinely forgot. I
Yes.
remember
So,
you guys did. Let's talk about that now. I know it was on another day, I think,
mhm.
but your girls did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, correct?
They did. So I was able to, I mean, we kind of stumbled upon, oh, there's the boutique, and there's the restaurant right across that you had set up for us. So that was good. We knew where to go. Honestly, that was one of the most amazing experiences. If I had to pick any kind of fault with that, it would be that was the only day that we had any kind of a commitment early, and it
Oh,
it,
right. It
it
was
wasn't.
breakfast, right?
So it was, while it was hair, obviously you can't go to breakfast and then get your hair done, so we had to get
Of
all, it
course.
was
Yeah.
a right, so it was like a glam before breakfast. So our appointment was at 8:25, so that morning was a little, maybe
Yeah. That's
not as
tougher. I
magical.
mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
crazy Disney families do like to rope drop, but for I think for the casual fan, that is not something that's normal. And let's talk about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique a little bit.
Okay.
I think I
Yes.
told you to bring the girls their dresses so they don't try to like sell you one.
You did. I went ahead and I ignored that, just because
Nice.
the
Classic.
I wasn't planning
Classic
on.
Amy.
Yeah, that is. Nobody was about to be walking around for the rest of that day in some kind of a floor length polyester situation. That's not our style. That's not how we roll. I was ready to stand my ground if they tried to sell us a dress, and it was not a hard sell. They were kind of,
Oh,
they
okay.
were like, that's fine.
Oh, so you didn't have them
That
wear a dress at all.
That's right. I didn't.
They just wore.
It was,
Oh, that's totally fine.
they well,
Yes.
they got like a special T-shirt and a
Oh,
sash.
right. Yeah. So
So
I
it's
just didn't want you to get
actually,
upsold. So I'm glad. So you're
you
good.
can't upsell. Come on.
Yeah,
It was
that's true.
also, that was the only rainy day that we had. So, nobody's trying to hold a train from a Tiana dress
Yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah.
around, in the rain. But
Which hairstyles did they pick?
oh,
My
a big old bun with
the
a
bun with the
donut.
tiara.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's what my
exactly.
daughter just recently got to. Yeah,
Yeah, they did. And they got the blue eyeshadow. It was really something. Um
nice. And then how was breakfast?
it was great. So, because of our, health situation, you made all these great reservations for us for dinners. And I know one of them, at least one of them, was another kind of a character situation, but I think we canceled all but the last night's dinner just because people were so cooked at the end of our days. this was the one that we were definitely, we had to get this character dining in. And it was great because, first of all, it obviously, I mean, you knew that we were going to go right from the salon straight into the castle. I'm asking everyone, oh, how far is it to breakfast? They're like, girl, it's right here.
Another
So we
chance for
were,
them to make you feel dumb that they didn't take. So
we're
lovely cast
learning.
members. Yeah. Yeah. We're learning.
So we got there. There was a little bit of a line, but they handled it really well. And it was so nice, just because, again, this was our last day there. It was so nice to have an actual sit down meal in the midst of going on rides and going in stores. And especially it was raining, it was like such a nice break. The food was pretty good. Just to have them come around to the table, it was amazing.
Was it just Cinderella or were there multiple princesses? Because they just brought
So,
the princesses back, so I can't remember
oh,
what time it happened to you.
allow me to enlighten you on this.
Please don't make me feel stupid though.
So no. So it's
Never.
Cinderella's castle. Apparently, she is the owner of the castle. She is the one that before you go up to your table, she is the meet and greet. So you can stand with her, you take pictures. She is the headliner, I guess. But then once you go upstairs, you sit down. They also, I mean, listen, they really get into character in these things. And I think the first thing when we sat down, just that even they were going to offer us water and they called my husband my lord. And I mean, that's not going away anytime soon. That man is going to be known as my lord for a long time. But once you settle in, they bring you your coffee, your water, they take your order, and then the other princesses start, kind of trickling in. And then they also come and you take pictures with them. So it was really, really fun. And they don't rush you out. Everything was it was such a nice place to sort of like just regroup. You can go on, the genie that I was still working on at that point. So it was really nice to have that kind of a break in the middle of the chaos.
Up until like a month or two ago, it was only Cinderella, so you guys got in
Okay.
when the getting was good. Because now it's back to normal, which
It
is
was,
what you experienced.
okay. Yeah, it was Jasmine, Aurora. It was, I want to say maybe a Snow White.
Some kind of
They're
princess.
all there. They're in
It's
there.
yeah, they're there. They're just hanging out. That's cool. So, any attraction highlights at the Magic Kingdom? I really want to talk about Animal Kingdom because I think you guys really had a good time there. But before we move
I
on,
think that was our
Magic
top
Kingdom.
one. So I went back at night with my older daughter, the one who was sick for most of the time. And so it was her first time seeing it. So I got to experience, both girls' first time seeing it with just them, which, it worked out however it worked out. It was really kind of sweet to see each of them, to really be able to focus on each one without anybody fighting or anything like that. We went later. It was already dark and we went on It's a Small World, which I think I don't think it's one of the most popular ones. I think
It's a classic, though.
is it? I mean, it was amazing. We loved it. Just watching her and asking me, which one is that? Which one, like we just had the best time on it. It was great. We also, that time that we were there, it flew. All of a sudden they announced, it's 10 minutes to fireworks. We're like, oh, okay. So we actually hightailed it out. While everybody was coming in on that main street, we were trying to get out. And something else I was really impressed with was, again, me asking every single cast member, is this the way out? How do we get to the boat, back to the hotel? And they actually opened like a service exit and they had people there and they were directing us out. And it was so nice. It could have been so bad to be going, upstream, but it was great. So that night there that we spent together was so much fun.
They do a really good job with that, and yeah, I do really enjoy the one-on-one time with the kids. I don't know where my lord was during this whole entire situation, but I guess he was
Also sick,
always
also sick. Yeah, the Lord was
yeah.
was at the manor.
Nice, nice. Now I know you guys had a really good time in Animal Kingdom, and it's funny for me. Like we go long days. Obviously, you guys weren't at 100%, but you texted me at like 11, and then you texted me at like 2, and at 2 you're like, we're leaving Animal Kingdom now, and it was like the best time. And so I need to know what happened in these magical 3 hours. Like you guys must have had a great time in that 3 hours. So I was really curious. What did you
We
get to
did.
experience in that 3 hours?
I mean, first of all, I think out of all the parks, just the whole feel of that one is so much fun. You know, you sort of like the Magic Kingdom, you can kind of see where everything is. You know, you can see that it's this road there. But Animal Kingdom was, it was so lush, and there were all of a sudden a monkey forest is over there, and then we were just kind of like walking around and going through all the different, we're in Africa and then we're in Asia. And we went on the safari. I don't know, is there only that one safari
That's
where you
kind
go
of
on the
like the
Land
main.
Cruisers?
It's like the main ride, yeah.
It was so much fun. I mean, just watching my kids to see those animals in that kind of a situation, and I think they did a nice job of really making it look like a habitat. It wasn't. I was kind of expecting like, what if this looks like a
Great
zoo and you're seeing
adventure.
fences. Yeah. We don't want to name any names, but it could have been maybe more of a tragedy. But it was so much fun to see all that. I thought it was laid out really well. We had like a fun lunch in Dinosaur Land, the what was it? What's Restaurantosaurus, and then went into Dino Land and rode the dinosaurs, and it was really fun. I wish we had more time to go back there.
It's my kids' favorite park, and they really love exploring. And yeah, I had told you
Hmm.
about Wilderness Explorers, that scavenger hunt thing, which you didn't end up having time doing. But like that is the kind of thing that my
Yeah.
especially when our kids are like this age, like they're
Hmm.
really into it, and they can like look at all the different areas. And so, yeah, they really do love Animal Kingdom quite a bit.
We also had fought using a stroller for as long as we could, just because we are sort of feeling like we could travel light and we can, weave in and out of the crowds and we can get on rides. But I think that Animal Kingdom, our experience there would have been maximized if we just could have wheeled them a little bit, I think all the walking got to them. We did end up giving in and getting one for our last 2 days.
Did you
But
get it from Disney, like the mini strollers, or
uh,
did you? Or is it?
we did both. We when we went to Hollywood, we said, "All right, fine, we'll get it here." And they had like, those plastic ones, and it was fine. Hollywood wasn't really our vibe anyway, so we didn't use it too much. And then the last day we used a rental service that brought like a double jogger stroller to our hotel. So that was actually really great.
All right, before we get to Hollywood Studios, quick reminder, we're on YouTube now. Check us out at youtube.com/at Disney Deciphered. Like and subscribe. And if you're looking for Leslie, who will be back next week for her writing, check her out, tripswithtykes.com, at tripswithtykes on social media. Find me at AsAJoeFlies on social media. And of course, if you're looking to plan a Disney vacation, email me, josephchung at travelmation.net. Okay, you mentioned this, and I wanted to ask, because I think most people are like, oh, Hollywood Studios is the place to go now because of the thrill rides and Star Wars, but it was not your vibe. And I think it's good to hear different opinions. So, why did you find that your family was just not vibing with Hollywood Studios?
I mean, I think just even upon arrival, just I understand they're going for that sort of retro, downtown Los Angeles vibe. I think that was really lost on my kids. I think it just looked old. It looked old to me too. It was also by far the most crowded. I mean, maybe it wasn't the most, it felt the most crowded. Like you said, I mean, we were as spring break as it gets. And that was the only place where there were just lines for everything, lines for the restrooms, lines to get, popcorn and water. Like it was rough. It was also, I found that they didn't have as many, sort of, I don't know if you call it like a little distraction, like just a little shop that you pop in, or like, maybe one of the little coffee place, just stuff that you can just like take a break from going from attraction to attraction. I found that that was kind of lacking. Maybe if you are a thrill seeker, I mean, we're not. I used to be. We're not, so it just none of the themes really resonated with my kids, and we did end up in that Toy Story Land, but it was like the last place we went. It was hot, it was crowded. But I will say the one thing that we did there, and it really was redeeming, was the Frozen sing along. If any of these cast members listen to this, there was just this one of the hosts of that, and he really just stole the show, and it was fun certainly for kids, but it was really fun for us too. He was really, really great. So we had a good time with that.
Yeah, like if you haven't done it, it's not just like they play the Frozen songs. There's like a little bit of a narrative, and I don't want
Hmm.
to spoil or anything, but like the actor that you're talking about, he plays like a role. It's like one of those. Oh, I was in the background of the movie, and this is like my experience of how it's like that kind of vibe. And yeah, I think they do a really good job with that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a good thing to know. And yeah, Toy Story Land, which is great. And I was like trying to get you to go on Toy Story Mania, which you probably would have loved, but going into that area, it is so like that is feels like one of the most crowded places in like all of Walt Disney World because there's just not enough space and there's just people everywhere. Like it always feels like you're swimming upstream, and there are no side paths to open or anything like that.
Hmm. Right, right. So, I mean, the good news is I did purchase hopper passes. So especially on that day where, we just weren't feeling it, it's hot. We're like, you know what, we can leave, we can go swimming, and we'll go to another park later. So it really did come in handy for something like that.
Yeah, I want to go through a couple of these things that you really enjoyed, but
Yeah.
before that, last thing I want to touch on is the pool at the Grand Floridian. You guys spent a lot of time there, so you want to spend a little bit of time talking about that?
So there are three pools, which I learned. One is more of a splash pad sort of water park. I think it's Alice in Wonderland themed. There's a giant bucket that just fills and fills and fills and dumps, and my kids just could not get enough of that. There's little water slides. I mean, the water is probably 8 inches deep. It's super safe. It's fun. There's a lifeguard. There's chairs, towel service, umbrella. It was so much fun. And it was also really good, sometimes with kids trying to get them to transition from one thing to another can be just really that's where that can be a little painful. But it was like, do you guys want to go to the splash pad? Or like, yeah, let's go. So we had a lot of fun there. In the bigger pools too, they both had that sort of like, beach style where you can walk out, so you can splash in the shallow water, you can swim. They had life jackets by the pool that you could just grab. That was so smart. Nobody's packing their puddle jumpers in checked luggage, but just to be able to, not have to watch constantly and hold, the little one, it was really fun. And they had food and drinks and a hot tub, and it was honestly, it felt very vacation-y. So it was nice to actually enjoy. You forget that you're in Florida and it's warm, and you do need to maximize that. So we did. We really enjoyed all three of the pools, and I think, I don't think too many people do that in the middle of the day. I don't know if that's a popular thing to do. It was never crowded. It was great.
Oh, that's good to hear. It actually is a popular thing to do, but if it
Oh,
wasn't
see,
crowded, then
it
yeah,
didn't
it's
feel
it's
crowded, but yeah, again, they're huge. It was great.
yeah, it's good to take a break. All right, I want to run
Hmm.
through a couple of the things that we wrote down. We already talked about mobile ordering. We already talked about the park hopper. We talked about receiving good service, but you did say that it felt beyond. Any other examples of great service that you can remember?
Every single interaction, with the exception of one, and that was my fault. I did break a rule, and I was reprimanded accordingly. Everybody was
Don't just
just,
gloss over that, Amy.
it's not like it wasn't a major rule at all. Okay. We were on the dock waiting for the boat. Actually, not waiting. We were trying to board it, and because it was already there. And again, I don't know how frequently these things run. I just want to go. And there's nobody else there, and then they make you go through the whole thing. I'm like, just go under. Don't go under. They don't like it.
Don't
You
go
got to go
under.
through the
Yeah,
thing, even if there's no one there and the boat's last call. Just go walk through the thing because
got it, got it, got
they're not going to leave you on the dock, and they don't like it.
They did. They're just keeping you safe, Amy. They're just keeping you
I
safe.
know that the rules are there to keep us safe. I do know
Yeah,
that. So
yeah. So
apologies to
anyway,
that one lady. Anyway, I also, I mean, I think I texted you almost immediately after I was on. Well, I went on a run. I said, like, is there any place I can run? And the doorman was like, oh yeah, I mean, you can go to the Polynesian. It's next door. That should be a good run. And no offense to that man, I'm sure just he's very fit, but it's like a 0.5 mile run. So, wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And then I was running kind of like within the Polynesian, it's all the places, like they have the different villas with all the places basically that Survivor has been filmed. Like, oh, we're in Borneo,
Nice.
But it ended in a parking lot full of people and on a line, and there was a security guard, and I was like, oh, like, where have I ended up? Is this a park? And he said, it's Magic Kingdom, as in maybe I'd heard of it. And so then I just ran back, again.
Have you heard of it? You actually, I think now that you say that, I think you were actually at the Transportation and Ticket Center, which is where you take the ferry to the Magic Kingdom.
I think I was more thinking that since you could see the castle from across the water, that how could I be entering here? But again, really, he could have laid into me for that. But again, he was very helpful. But everybody that we asked for anything, again, like the guy who told me how to get to the monorail when I was clearly looking right at the monorail, just everyone. Anytime that we walked in, anybody that worked in the lobby, anybody that was there, always said hello, have a nice day. It was just really nice.
Awesome. All right, let's end with a couple of rapid fire questions for you, and then we'll end with a Disney do or don't. All right, favorite attraction for you, not for the overall family.
Oh, I mean, then I have to think that it was a safari.
Nice,
Is that
nice. No, that's like
is a good answer?
it's like top three for everyone in my family. So great
Oh,
answer.
okay.
Favorite part of the hotel. I think I know their answer already for this.
Yeah, it's the Alice in Wonderland pool for sure.
Yeah, the pool
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
All right, best thing you ate. Oh, we went over this already, but do it again for the
Tendies.
people who weren't listening.
Tendies. Guy Fieri, chicken guy. Get the tendies. Get every single sauce. You won't regret it.
Did you have a favorite sauce out of the sauces you had?
Yeah, I
I'm
think it
taking
was the
notes here.
garlic parmesan sauce. The only one I think that a lot of people are into that wasabi honey one. I wasn't feeling that. It was like it looked a little bit like NyQuil, the way they give it to you in a little cup, and it's really green.
Uh,
That I think
yeah.
might have been the only kind of meh, but they were all really strong choices. I think it would be hard to go wrong.
And then last thing, favorite family memory. Let's say for all four of you, because you had some amazing moments with both of your daughters separately. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, making my husband, whatever the process to becoming a lord, the way that he was able to skip that whole process and go right into it. I don't know. I think maybe when we got there for the salon appointment, it was during that, I guess, uh, what is it called when you can get there early?
rope drop. Oh, early magic hour.
Because it was like
Early
it was like
entry. Early entry. Yes.
it was like 8 a.m. We took a couple of pictures right in front of the castle, and it was pretty cool. You felt like all of us were there, and it kind of felt like a little VIP experience. Just all of us coming in and seeing it at the same time, and having it not be mobbed yet was really fun.
Well, I'm glad you had a great trip. And then yeah, I guess like what we talked about from the top. Are you thinking of going again?
I am ready to go again. Now I am armed with so much more information. Um, I also, I thought, okay, fine, next time we go, we're really going to have to avoid like this whole spring break situation. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. And coming from me, I really hate crowds. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready when you are, spring break
Yeah.
24.
Let's do it. And yeah, I will say that I do think your low expectations helped, but I think also one thing that really helped your family and that I would say to other people is the thing that you were talking about Hollywood studios, like not having things to duck into or the Disney term for it is streetmosphere. Like when like in Magic Kingdom, sometimes there's would be a random marching band that just like
Right.
walks by,
Right.
or like a barbershop quartet. That's the Dapper Dans, which Leslie loves. And so when you go to Disney, if you take in that whole experience and it's not just about doing all the attractions and waiting in lines, it ends up being a much more enjoyable experience overall. And I think people often forget that you're not only paying to go on roller coasters or whatever, but you're paying for that whole vibe, like the whole entire,
Hmm.
it's the bubble like we talked about. So at the very beginning. So I think you all did it right. Especially for your family for the first time and, with not being at 100%. So I'm glad it really worked out for you all.
Thank you. I mean, we literally could not have done it without you, and I really appreciate it.
That's too kind. And I appreciate that. Now, I told you we always end this podcast with a Disney do or don't. So what do you have from your first time experience at Disney World?
I would say, can I start with the don't, or is that bad to be
No,
negative
you can
straight
do it
out the
either
gate?
way. Yeah.
Because it's not that negative. I think what you shouldn't do, I think don't put so much pressure on yourself that you lose sight of the fact that you're on a vacation. And I did have to remind myself of that several times. Just, you roll with it. Like you said, it's not your vibe. Cut your losses, go somewhere else. So I say my don't is put so much pressure on yourself.
That's great. I think, yes, that is a Disney deciphered. Um, it's like one of our core tenets. So beautiful. And then your Disney do?
My do is I'm not sure what we talked about. I already forgot. I know we only talked about it today, but my do is do get a magic band. It honestly, I thought it was just going to be a cute accessory. It honestly was great. You don't have to worry about taking your money out. You can go on a run, get a coffee when you're done. It definitely makes you spend probably more than you would if you had to actually see a transaction go
That's
through, and
true.
they're smart to do that. And then, at the end they just like slide in your emails with here's your final magic band statement, and it hurts, but it really came in. We all used it. Anybody can just go back to the room, anybody can grab themselves a quick water, go on the ride. So I think do for that magic band.
Great. All right. Well, thank you again so much, Amy, for
Thank
coming on.
you.
If, I know you're on social generally just showing off how much better in shape you are than I am. But if people want to find you, where can they possibly find you?
On Instagram, I am Tribe Called Quid, KWID.
Love the
Subtle
reference.
reference.
RIP, RIP, always. But yeah, thank you again so much for coming on. Really enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
And,
Thank you.
ready to plan your next trip.
Okay. That's part two.